We're ready for the fun part. First, I'm going to turn the awards over to Mark Pinn and Jeff Williams, our co-chairs for the event.
Thank you. Welcome to the 2021 Honor Awards for the Idaho chapter of the American Institute of Architects. Appreciate you all being here. Before we get started with tonight's ceremony, I wanted to say that it's been an honor to be a co-chair with Jeff. He's been a great deal of help. We've had a very good committee. A lot of really important people have helped us make this presentation possible, and appreciate all their support. But before we get started, there's one person in particular I'd like to express appreciation to, because this award program is kind of special because it's actually kind of the first time that we've been able to get together in about 3 years as an association, and it's nice to be back in person. We debated that issue this spring, like everybody, about with COVID and the challenges of whether or not to actually do this physically. And I know both Jeff and I and many of the members of the committee felt the same way, that these are better when they're in person. And it's, again, nice to see everyone's face, even though we have to wear masks and deal with the challenges of a pandemic. It's good. And so one of the advocates of that was one of the most important people on this committee and with our chapter, has helped a great deal. And as we developed this program, and Jeff and I both relied on traditions and standards that we have set in Idaho at the chapter level for these awards to maintain, the quality standards and the level of excellence that we expect from our members and wish to celebrate tonight. So in order to do that and pull off one of these ceremonies, there's a lot of details that have to go into it. You may not realize it, and frankly, I've run several of these programs and I didn't quite realize it till this afternoon when I thought about it, but a lot of little things have to happen in a very specific pattern, and a lot of details have to be checked off for it to come out without a hitch. And we could not have done this without the help of one particular person. And I'd like to call Anna up here. And we'd like to give Anna a small token of our appreciation for all of her really hard work. She was the background and so many texts and phone calls and emails, and she kept track of all the little details. So please give us a round of applause for Anna. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay, don't go anywhere.
I'm not going anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. Okay, we have a couple more certificates of recognition. Mark Pinn and Jeff Williams, the co-chairs for this event, in addition to Anna, did a lot of organizing to pull this off. So these are certificates of appreciation for your work.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then we have awards for Travis Kilmer of Williams Partners and Chris Peterson of Erstad Architects, who are associate members of the year for their work on implementing a Rockstar ARE program. So I think Travis is here. I think Chris is not here, so maybe Andy, you can grab her certificate.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Smile for the camera.
Thank you very
Well
much.
deserved. Where is the camera?
Right there. Red dress. Hard to miss. All right. Can we sit down? What's that? As the co-chairman for the Design Award, I would like to introduce our jury, and I can tell you from experience yesterday of proctoring the jury as they worked that we were very fortunate to have them. You met them all, some of you met them this afternoon because they gave some wonderful talks and showed their work, which was outstanding. So I'd like to bring up Thomas, if you would, please, and from Portland, Oregon, Ben from Portland, Oregon, and Faith from New York City, who worked together as an outstanding jury and did a remarkable job collaborating through the process, and a lot of very good comments and agreements on awards. And we'll let them take the program over now. Thank you.
So do we have a little mic we can sit over there? I don't know, I'm just kind of curious, or should we? We could do either. Yeah, I was just thinking that we don't have to stand here and feel so professorial. Does it work? Does this work?
Can you hear us? Hello.
All right. I feel like a news broadcaster here, right? I first want to thank you all for the invitation to come here. And this is personally my first time in Ketchum and Sun Valley, and it's super impressive and beautiful. Others have more experience than I do being here, but I do hope to be back and have the opportunity to experience the hospitality of this group and this place. So we, as a jury, like we said, it's always challenging to look at work, but it's also super inspiring to see work happening, in the Mountain West, and also reflecting on that work relative to the places that we come from. And so what I'd love to do is we're going to have just a bit of a conversation here. So we're going to go through the projects that have won awards, and just talk a little bit about some of the things that we've talked about. I don't know if you guys want to share some other comments before I get started.
Well, are we going to hand these out like once we announce who it is? Are the people supposed to come up and then we take a photo with them?
I am fine doing that. We're going to, and so that's great. So this is why we have more than one person up here. So we will announce the award. I think the thing will come up on the screen, and then you guys can come up and we'll get a photo, right?
Yeah, perfect.
Does that sound like a good plan? Great. You can see we're professionals here. All right, so let's see. I'm going to click the slide here. I wasn't super good at this before, so hopefully I can work on it now. Commercial. So this is the commercial category. And we're going to start with the Citation Awards in the commercial category. And for the Citation Award, it's Pivot North Architecture for the Front Street Garage.
So get up and take a photo with them?
Yeah. Why don't you come up? And then we'll give a couple comments. So congratulations. Yeah, thank you very much. So I think we just talked a little bit about this project. I personally was really excited to see a garage that had a real civic presence, but at the same time was using material in a really sort of economical, elegant way with the a simple panel that's just basically split at different angles, and then the civic presence of the stair, I think, gave this building a place in the kind of context that's much more than a parking garage. It actually brings something more to the location. I don't know if others have some other thoughts.
I think one of the things I really liked about this project was that it understood like the positive elements of being a parking garage, which is that the walls don't have to be enclosed. They can be screened, and I think it was used to really good effect.
Yeah, and to follow up on that, I think the thing that I was most impressed with is that I've walked by a million parking garages that are uninspired, and this one really sort of walks the sort of tightrope between being too much and also being enough that it's not just a parking garage. And it was very clever in its use of the panels, creating a variegated facade, but also a facade that breathed, and it's a parking garage. And then the other thing I liked is just that I didn't go to this garage, or we didn't go to this garage, but it feels really usable. It feels safe. It feels really clear about how you, I mean, it sounds pragmatic, but how you get into the parking garage and how you find your car. Which is, but it was done in an artful way, and in an experiential way. And so that part really, that felt good, and that's one of the reasons for the award.
Yeah, congratulations. And you know, Ben wouldn't talk about pragmatic stuff at all, right? All right. Well, here's another picture, just to give you a sense of the project. So really nice job. So one more. And you can sort of see the detail of the facade.
If you want help with that, I can do that.
Yeah, you want to do that? That's awesome. It's a team here. So for the honor award in commercial goes to Vi Architecture for Energy Seal headquarters. So I'm going to let somebody else start.
So this was definitely, or at least for me, it was a surprise. And it was a surprise in the sense that, like, who would imagine an insulation company hiring an architect in the first place, but also to do such a nice job. And what really resonated with us was just the simplicity of the project and the pragmatics of the project. So the facade on the left, really restrained, but well composition facade. The only thing, really, the only articulation, which I think is a good thing, is at the entry, and so it's super clear and welcoming where the entry is. It's the one spot where it's clad with something different than the metal cladding of the entire building. And then once you enter into the building, it's this really light-filled, beautiful space. And actually, this is sort of a global comment. This photograph is well taken, and I think good photographs go a long way in these presentations. And then beyond that, this project, it was quiet in a way, but really followed through in all levels. So the plan is clear, the elevations are clear, and then the sort of thermal detailing are clear, and that makes sense for an insulation company, but it's really great and interesting to see that follow through. And then the PV panels, and overall, for me, it was a surprise, and a really excellent and awesome surprise, actually.
Yeah. I agree. Now, I have to say, one of the things that struck me, as a New York architect, I do a lot of interiors. And in fact, I probably do more interiors than I do freestanding buildings. And I really appreciated the attention to detail and composition and materiality in these interiors. It was just really beautiful.
Yeah, a little secret. If I hadn't been an architect, I think I love mechanical engineering. I love ducts. I love laying them out. And they did some really amazing layout of ducts here. It's just like, I just was like, oh my God, that's so amazing. I don't know if Vi Architecture is here today, but if they are, that's great. Come on up. We weren't sure. We didn't see. Well, I think we're going to do it this way now, so we could just do one clap and everyone can come up and great work. Thanks. Yeah, thank you. Here you go. Guess we got a picture. Thank you.
Should they do the pictures not in front of the podium? Should they get their pictures?
Yeah, they should come on.
Okay, so you should do the pictures not.
Okay, we'll do it there. We're getting better.
Public realm. Oh, yeah, here.
You want to do it? All right, public realm. We're going to start with the Merit Award, and it's an easy award to give because we're actually in the building. So, you know, I think why don't we? I think what we'll do is, because we're getting the hang of this now. Okay, we're going to do the comments, and then we'll come up and do a photo out here. And as my esteemed jurors have said, don't do it in front of the podium. So, but I think this project, I think we've all sort of experienced what's great about this project in terms of its engagement with the city. And I think that, you know, the garden, the courtyard, the theater, the narrative of how those layers work together is really commendable. And I think we've all sort of experienced what's really sort of really positive about this design.
I want to give like a special note to, I really appreciate the presence on the street that the glazing at the front of this building has. I think it's really important to sort of create a dynamic street front and to engage the public as a civic building. And especially in Ketchum, when you're on Main Street, I think there's not enough of that. And I think that this theater does a really good job of doing that.
For me, this is another surprise because the interesting thing about looking at these projects is we didn't visit any of the projects. And in this building, we saw a little bit more of this building before the jury, but we actually didn't experience the building. And I have to say, after spending the day here, I'm even more in love with this building than yesterday because this is the proportions of the space are really beautiful. We were here, we looked down last night and it was set up completely different. We showed up in the morning with the tables completely different. So the flexibility of this space really, it's impressive. And what Faith says about engaging the street, I mean, we all experienced that tonight, the flow in and out. And so it's a beautiful amenity to the city, to Ketchum, and I would say, you know, for what it's worth, it's interesting visiting a building versus looking at photographs. And I guess another kind of, it's important to take good photographs for these, because we're not always visiting it. So kudos to this project. It's been a pleasure to be inside of it today.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you. Is that good? Yeah, come on up. You guys come on up. You want to get the... Oh, okay, great. Well, we'll come on up.
Come on up.
Come on up. I think you're supposed to hand the microphone this way, right?
Thank you. So I realize this is a little unconventional, and I think I really appreciate the comments we've heard so far about the architecture. The reason why I wanted to take a few minutes is because I think the process is equally, if not more important. And I just wanted to talk a little about our experience working with Mike. Unfortunately, he's got a mask on, so you're not going to see him get embarrassed or blush or anything. But I first went to Mike when there was a ramshackle old building on this lot and said, you know, we have this idea and we need to raise, I don't know, 12 or 15 million dollars. And in order to do that, I need some concepts. And I've got $5,000 to spend and I need them in 2 weeks. And that started this project. And from then on, I was struck by two things. One was what an amazing design professional Mike is, in that really welcomed collaboration and inclusion and really listened well to not just us as clients. By the way, my name's Tim Mott, and I'm president of the Arduous Performing Arts Center board. Not just what we had to say, but also what other people in the community had to say. I remember one of the things we talked about was wanting a building that was modern, but not so contemporary that it was going to be out of fashion in 10 years, and a building that would fit well with the, with the vocabulary on Main Street here. At the same time, though, Mike definitely had a point of view and an aesthetic, and so he'd listen really well, but this was by no means designed by committee. I mean, this is a Mike Doty building. So that was on the design side, and then we got into the sort of details, and subsequently into the construction. And there's a couple of Mike's staff who are here that I'm sure he'll recognize later, who were very involved. But his firm didn't only do the architecture; they actually did the construction management as well. And I was struck by how meticulous they were, and Mike was, about the engineering aspects of the building. And I think that design and the aesthetics of design and the functionality and pragmatics, someone mentioned pragmatics earlier, those really need to go hand in hand. And when they go hand in hand, you get the best possible result. And I could go on for a long time, which I obviously shouldn't do, but the one thing I will say, and I think maybe you've all had some sense of this the last couple of days, is this building, this venue has been a game changer in this town. And there isn't one of the things I was fond of saying when we were at the tail end of raising money and the building was mostly done was, there's not a cubic foot in this building that wasn't thought about and designed. And there's a lot in here that you don't see, like the kitchen downstairs, the tech rooms, the storage spaces. Back of house, there are changing rooms, star dressing rooms, group changing rooms. There's office space for 10 people. There's a loading bay. There's a piano dock. I mean, on and on and on. Anyway, it's a fantastic building. And Mike, it was an honor to work with you. Thank you.
Brenda and Nicole, if you could stand up and just wave to everybody. These two were part of the team that made this possible.
Thank you. Good work. Good work. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I hope. Maybe, do we have any more owners in the audience? Sorry, No, that was it's really great to get different perspectives, and I think today, all the sort of discussions we've had, it's so important for architects to have other people in the room, because it really changes the conversation. So I don't mean that as anything but positive. So, oh, cool. Yeah, go back one. So I think this was a little out of order, but we're just, yeah, so sorry, we are right on schedule here. No, they didn't, we didn't merit, and now we're doing.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So for the honor award, is going to Cole Architects for the Boise Fire Station 8. So I'm going to hand the microphone to you.
Well, this is a really exceptional project. I mean, one thing that I really liked is the restraint in the material palette. So it's all out of brick. There's two colors of brick, but it's all out of brick. And what was really interesting about it is just using one material and then breaking up the mass in what seemed to us a really appropriate way. So not over-articulation, not under-articulation, but it really felt like the right amount for the street. And as we moved around the building, well, and then the interiors, again, it had a really straightforward and clean, pragmatic, smart floor plan, super functional. And the interiors, the material order just seemed really distinct and created a strong sense of identity.
So I feel like in a lot of ways, firefighters are a backbone of our community. And fire stations are really unusual in that the firemen spend a lot of time there. It's their home away from home. They cook meals together, they work out, it's an important space for them. And so it always feels really good to find a firehouse that's so beautifully designed. I feel like it sort of pays a design homage to the importance of firefighters in our lives. So this project just really was just lovely. Made me feel really good.
Yeah, and you have a lot of firehouse experience sort of
Yeah.
indirectly in New York, and we've done some amazing firehouses there. And I think one of the things for me, just when you look at the building, you're like, that's a firehouse. But it's also a nice building, and it's a place that feels welcoming in the community, but it's also contemporary. So it sort of straddles between these things of being approachable, but comfortable, but also feels fresh. And that's, for me, like a real sweet spot for architecture and really demonstrating the value of design and architecture to the greater community. So congratulations, Cole Architects. So I put this here. Thank you. Yeah, I guess we're going to see a photo. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. All right, so we are on to an important category, single-family residential. So for the Merit Award goes to Williams Partners Architects for the Snake River Gorge residence. So this is a pretty amazing house on an absolutely incredible site, which was sort of jaw-dropping, I can't even say it, the beautiful, and I think one of the things that Jody appreciated, I think, is the narrative of how you actually navigate yourself, through the site in a way that you're sort of, it's not instantly revealed what you're actually about to experience. And another thing that I noticed, it was this sort of level of craft in the execution of the project. So, I've built a lot of buildings, and you can sort of see when somebody really knows how to execute a detail.
So one of the things I've learned recently is that it's really, really hard to make a very big house look good. And I really appreciate how the architect was able to sort of break down the massing of something that has a pretty big program into volumes that are readable and at a residential scale.
Yeah, for me, well, first of all, the site's crazy beautiful, and can you really build a house there? That was like the first question. And then if you're gonna do, you better be really careful how you build a house. And so that's actually the thing that I liked about this house, is that, beyond the floor plan, beyond the detailing, I liked the footprint of the house. And what I liked about the footprint of the house was, well, we don't have a site plan, but I liked the courtyard. So I liked entering in. I liked the surprise and the entry sequence. So arriving in the courtyard, and then walking through the house, and then having this huge reveal. And we didn't visit the house, of course, but we could imagine.
But we would like to.
Yeah, you can. You could imagine how dramatic that would be. So that was what I found super special.
Yeah, so congratulations, come on up. So we're on to, oh, there's one more. Oh yeah, there's the site plan.
Okay.
Sorry, we were afraid we were going to reveal the next one.
Amateurs. This is the amateur hour here. So for the Citation Award, it goes to Farmer Payne Architects for the Sage residence. And I'll start in the middle here. Huh?
Me again?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot to say about this house, and I don't want to steal everybody else's thunder, so I'm just going to say I love this detailing. It is so beautiful, especially the steel elements. The indoor fireplace and the outdoor fireplace just blew me away. It's just absolutely beautiful.
I liked a few things. I liked the restrained material palette. Probably the biggest thing, and that this was a little bit of a controversy in the jury, but what I really liked was the framing of the view. So just the detailing of the windows that go all the way up to the soffit, and how is it Bald Mountain or Mount Baldy? Sorry, that's anyway, the framing of that view with the terrace and with the cantilevered roof really seems strong, and I can imagine being in that living space and just feeling that frame view, essentially creating an atmosphere in the room. So keeping the material palette inside calm, and really having that frame view animate the space.
Yeah, maybe if you, yeah, so the one, I just wanted to point out, one of the discussions we had as a jury is like the column placement. And she loves the column placement. Others, we won't, I mean, we think it just, there's some things that we would love to see, but that we don't get to design the project, the people in the room do. But I think what I think we appreciated was the simplicity. I know this project actually used cross-laminated timber specific to its strength relative to its resistance to roof loads from avalanches. It wasn't super clear how that was done, but I'd love to hear more. But I think it's a testament to the project that all the jurors found something to have a great conversation about. So thank you. So come on up if you're here. It's down. All right, so we're on to the honor award for single-family residential, and that goes to Michael Doty and Associates for the Shaw Mesa Family Retreat. This was, I think you might know from now that this jury loves big roofs and sort of large moves that are elegantly articulated, and I think this project does that. And I think when you look at the imagery, the photography is actually also incredibly beautiful. I'm not sure who did it, but they did a very good job for you, and that's something that I think I would always sort of reiterate that is sometimes the project for us because we can't go see it. But I think you can kind of see how elegant this project is in the landscape. And, we might have little differences in things that we could make or talk about, but I think overall we were really impressed with this as a sort of building in the landscape.
So all I have to say is I saw this building and I started sketching. So I have all this like backlog of projects I have to think about. And I saw this building and I started sketching. That's how much I loved it and was inspired by it.
I think this image on the right is, for me, was the quintessential image, and it's a beautiful photograph. So you can't. That's a good thing to have. But also how it hunkers down in the landscape, and then opens up to the valley and the hills beyond. It's really amazing, and I think probably. Yeah, I would say the floor plan. It's a really simple and elegant floor plan, and then the roof just being not afraid of doing just a big single roof, and how actually in a landscape like this, it's probably the quietest thing you could do, versus having something that's broken up too much.
So come on up, Michael, or whoever. So the last award specific to housing was a specific category. So as the architect as client, and that goes to, I want to make sure I'm not sure if I say this name right, but Mark DeRoyce for the Big Wood residence. And one of the things that we liked about this house was just simplicity and kind of calmness in this landscape. And then a very sort of straightforward plan. So, it's not a big house, but it really feels comfortable in its site. And I think that, we all know as architects that building your house is a difficult thing. And, I think it's always, a journey I think that everyone wants to go on. And sometimes we were really appreciative of the sort of clarity of how this house was designed and the plan itself.
I really appreciated the massing of the gabled structure and the flat volume. I thought the composition of that was really balanced.
Yeah, I like the simplicity too, and it's interesting just grouping the function of the house with the volumes of the house, and having the lower part being this living space that opens up to, I guess you could call a meadow. And beyond that, just really the simple material palette on the outside that lends a strong identity to the house. And then I think, the last thing is just a really strong floor plan, a simple and strong floor plan.
So Mark, if you're here, come on up. I don't know if you're here. He's not here? Okay. We'll move on.
All right, so this guy's sweeping.
Huh? I know. It's, yeah. So we're on to adaptive reuse. So for the award of merit, goes to Michael Doty Associates for the Fox Hollow Ranch House remodel and addition. And we do not know the names of these people, just so you know. Go ahead. Do you want to say something about this? Or?
I think, so, I mean, my favorite part about this is that that's a lot of gables that you managed to sort of quiet with a singular roof. And I think that that was really a great move.
Well, what I find, it's a simple house, which I can appreciate. It's a surprise. The architect is a surprise because it's quite different, which is a compliment. And, but it also, well, it's winning an award. And so it has a legibility that's really admirable. The restrained exterior building materials, the roof form, and the interiors are really impressive.
You know, I also wanted to comment, like, sometimes you deal with buildings that are just not that good. And I feel like they're not bad, but they're not good. And when you look at the original house and then the transformation, I think that's really impressive because they took the sort of bones of the original house and sort of leveraged that into the master living space. But I think the most sustainable thing you can do is reuse things, you know, and I think so. A lot of the award, you know, was like, how do you take something that's maybe not perfect and then flip it to something that's actually quite good and bordering on excellent, you know, when you look at the interiors and how that was put together. So that was sort of, I think, why this project has an award. And I think that in the future, we really need to think about how to take buildings that aren't great and make them better without having to sort of completely start from scratch. So I think that's really to be commended and not to tear the whole thing down.
And actually, just one other thing. I think, one thing to follow up on that was actually probably the biggest impression that I had was what it was and what it became. It would have been, you know, we're using our imagination. It would have been interesting to see how much was kept and how much wasn't.
Yeah.
But really, if you look at the upper right-hand image and kind of imagine transforming that to what you see in the main image, it's pretty impressive. So, it was very clever in that way. We appreciate that.
All right, Michael.
How many projects did you complete this year, Michael? The busy guy. Just stay up here.
All right, so for the Adaptive Reuse Honor Award, it goes to Pivot North Architecture for the historic Elks Lodge. This is just a really beautiful project, and I would be very proud to have been the author of this. You know, just I love historic reuse and renovation. And I think what it requires and what was demonstrated in this project is the amount of knowing when to actually go in and make a change, and also knowing when to kind of hold back. And so there's a restraint and kind of humbleness to the voice of the architect in this that is really elegant.
That was actually what I was going to say too. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I I would totally agree. It's really interesting, and we can go through the slides here. But looking at this image, wait, do we have?
Oh,
Here we go.
oh,
So
that's my favorite image. Yeah, this one.
yeah, so this is sort of crazy that it started with the image on the left and transformed to the image on the left, on the right, and deciding to demolish the building on the single-story building on the right for the outdoor seating area, it looks like, and removing the awning, filling in windows, just essentially, I mean, from our viewpoint, really doing all the right moves. In fact, from an exterior point of view, we didn't really see what else would have been better to have done or not done, and so that was very impressive for us, and it was a beautiful project to review.
All right, so Pivot North Architecture is here. Please come on up. They are here because this is their second.
Hey, wait a second, you did the slideshow. That's so funny. That's awesome. Is there 2 more left?
So we have 2 sort of special awards. The first is for, I guess it's the Energy Efficient Award in the commercial category. It's an award of sustainability in architecture. And that goes to VY Architecture for the Energy Seal headquarters. So you noted my real excitement about mechanical, but this is also exploring ideas about passive house, and it's just so incredible that this company that's focused on insulation, high efficiency insulation, is basically doing a building that embodies their values. And for me, that's always some of the most exciting architecture that you can see out there. So I don't think the sustainability piece is in any way separate from the design, and that's the way it should be.
I would, we talked a lot about this building before, and I think that was really the key for us. It was everything emerged anatomically, the composition of the facade, the plan, how building systems were worked, how the insulation worked. It was all, it's not complicated, but it was really a smart strategy. So we appreciated it for that.
All right, so VY Architecture, if you want to come up. And then we have 1 more after this. So the last award, but not definitely the least, is for best use of Idaho wood in a residence. And that goes to architect Jack Smith, FAIA, for the Kanzan House. Do you want to chat on this one, or you want me? I mean,
I can start and then you can finish up. I think this one, there were some images that were really, I would say, world class. And the construction photo on the right-hand side, and then I don't know if we have it, but there was a model, and the model of the structure, this roof structure, just how the roof was thought about as a beautifully articulated thing, and it just took on an energy and presence and identity of its own that we really found compelling.
Yeah, it's like the model itself was just, it's definitely an image it's sticky. It sort of stays with you, and so it's really amazing to see the the articulation of this glue lamp product where we're spanning these massive spans, I think 60-foot spans, but that it all sort of being elegantly composed. So I think we were, really taken by the innovation side of using wood in a different way. I wouldn't say different, but in a way that is really, embodies some of the sort of principles around the design of the house. So congratulations to architect Jack Smith, if Jack is here.
So there's one more award. It's a special recognition award. The sponsor of this evening, Intermountain Gas, has asked us to recognize a project with a donation of a gas barbecue. And we felt like the Ronald McDonald House by Cole Architects would be a fantastic recipient. We appreciate the good work you do for such a wonderful organization. And Anna has the award. And I guess we should take a photo with it.
So that is the conclusion of the awards. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming to this event. This is the first kind of in-person event I've been to in a while for AIA, and it's really wonderful to be able to actually see work up on a big screen as opposed to a little window in our computer. So thanks again to the organizers, to Anna, to AIA Idaho, AIA. I've had an issue with AIA Idaho. I don't know if others have that problem. Yeah, too many vowels in a row. And also to the sponsors that obviously make this all possible.
I would also like to thank Gretchen for all her lovely introductions and for keeping us on time. You're a great MC, Gretchen.
Just, we've really, it's been a pleasure reviewing all of your work, and also a pleasure to visit your beautiful town of Ketchum and Idaho in general. And so thank you so much for your hospitality.
I want to remind everyone of the debrief with the jurors for the applicants if you choose to speak with them, maybe further about your project. That's at 9 a.m. tomorrow in the Kentwood Lodge conference room. I would also like to thank all of the jurors for flying all this way, spending all of their time doing this, giving us really good insight into all of this architecture. It was a pleasure to hear you all speak, and thank you for coming. Thank you all for applying. Thank you all for attending. And I think the bar is open for one more round if anyone's interested in the lobby. Thank you for coming.